call the meeting to order at 6:35, and then we have no public participation. So Brian, if you would like to go ahead then.
Sure. Thanks, Shannon.
Yep.
Typically we do a financial report, but since this meeting is so early in the season, obviously January, February, March, we don't have too much to report. Wish we had more, but it started. I was going to kind of comment on what getting ready for the season, all the tea times that we've been booking with leagues, evening leagues, standing tea time program, which Tom knows about. That is expanded as well. So going into the season with all the pre-bookings we've done, it looks really, really well. And getting prepared for that. Right now, the biggest challenge, obviously, since we opened last Tuesday, we've been open every day. I finally got 2 extra guys on payroll. So we kind of manning the fort here for quite some time. So we're going to continue to get those people on board. Most of those people that I hire have to give their 2 weeks to even come over here. So this is quite the early season. I don't remember, and Jim might have more memory than I do, but one year we opened maybe March 8th, but nothing like this where we open March 9th. Carts are out, they're crossing. I mean, it's really great condition right now for the course in March. As you guys all know, we all live here, but it's been nonstop. I know tomorrow we're almost sold out. Sunday we're almost sold out. So it's just go, go, go. And just trying to keep up right now with the pace of everything, and the lack of employees has been the biggest challenge. But, for the season upcoming, it looks really, really good on paper, so to speak. Now, Mother Nature hopefully does her part like she did last year, and it's going to be another great season for us. So I really don't have too much to report other than that at this point.
All right.
Open questions, or wait till we go through. I mean, I guess I would just ask Brian. Great update. Anything planned different this year? Since you're kind of in a full year with the restaurant next door, et cetera, or you're just going to go at it and try to maintain and keep up?
Yeah, right now we're just trying to maintain and keep up. Some of our leagues have expanded as well. A lot of concerns going into the full year with the restaurant. A lot for them to learn as well. I've been working with the current manager over here. I think I'm on my 3rd manager at this point. So it's going to be a challenge for everyone involved to try to keep up, because obviously this is all new for them, whether it's an event or just a 30-person league coming in after they're done, trying to manage them and a full restaurant. It's going to be all new to those guys over there. So we'll have our ups and downs for sure. But, they do a great job over there, especially last September. I saw how much they can really handle over there. So I'm pretty excited moving into the new season with them. And right now, like I said, Tom, it looks really great on paper. So the expansion of leagues and standing tea times is just, let's keep up with what we got. And hopefully we can provide a better service than we did last year. Great
report. Positive. I mean, I look at those headaches as positive headaches, if you will, meaning between you and the restaurant. That's all good.
Yes. Yep.
Great to hear.
Are you guys doing any, maybe this is part of Jim's, but are you guys plan stuff different? Because I've seen piles of dirt on the course, and
Jim will go over that. I'm sure
Okay.
He's talking about hole 3, I would think. So he'll go over what's going on over there and what happened at the pond.
All right. Any other questions for Brian? Nope. All right. Jim, do you want to take it from there?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. As Brian mentioned, great to be open. Nice to have everyone back, and we are extremely busy out there for this time of the year being outside. Just kind of going back to the winter months, winter maintenance is complete on all the equipment. All the golf course items have been clean, painted, such as tee markers, flag sticks, and cups. We have been out and removing several dead ash trees around the golf course, and have also done a lot of tree pruning. This will help from a playability standpoint and a maintenance standpoint. It'll help you advance your ball under those trees a little bit, and it'll help for the mowers too as well. The last couple of weeks, we have been out preparing the golf course for play. Some of these items include blowing off all the plain areas from our fine feathered friends that tend to sit there over the winter time. So trying to get their mess cleaned up a little bit. Course setup and changing pin locations, and course cleanup with any debris or any branches down from over the winter time. At this point, nothing has been mowed yet at this time. Soil temperatures just aren't at that point yet. So Things are still a little cool, especially with the lows being in the 30s and the 20s in the evening. Even though we're hitting those 50s and 60 marks in the afternoon, the turf hasn't really responded yet as far as growing. But in the next couple of days, looking at the 60s, there might be an opportunity next week to possibly get a cut on the greens. They are firm, believe it or not, for this time of the year. So we may look into that for next week. On hole 3, as maybe that's what Lisa's referring to, on the right side of hole 3, we had a situation last year in the fall where our city engineer came out and there was a little excessive silt in the pond, the back pond on hole 3 near the head wall on the right side there. So in-house, the service department came in with an excavator and removed that silt, and it's just currently being stored on the right side of number 3. But what they did, they dug down, give or take about 16 inches, about 50 yards long on that right-hand side. So they pushed all that material out and stacked it, and then they excavated the silt out of the pond, put the silt basically into that trough area. They're gonna let it dry, and then what they pushed off, that pile of topsoil, they're gonna then incorporate back on the top, we'll grade it, and then seed it. This was done this way because it was less disruption to the golf course by hauling with trucks. So I thought it was a unique way to kind of hide the material, because if multiple trucks went through that area, it really would have been a mess, as well as probably tearing up the cart path. So the goal was just to get in one time and out one time. So right now it is a little unsightly. The good news is it's kind of out of a plain area. We will rope that off. It'll be ground under repair, and hopefully I have been in contact with the service department. Those guys are super busy right now as well. Once they have an opportunity and it's dry enough, they will get back out to grade that area, and then we'll have that seeded. So that's what's going on over in that location. As Brian mentioned, oh, I'm sorry, Tom, you got a question?
Will that, it basically end up being level, or will it be a small hill, so to speak?
We're going to try. Good question. We're going to try and get that as level as possible. If anything, there might be a little bit of a berm there, a little bit of a mound that will be angled so that water will run off into the lake and not collect there. So it may be a little high.
Links-like. Meaning it'll look
Correct.
somewhat like a links course, but that, I was just curious. Thank you very much.
Yep. Good question. Yep. And then also, as Brian mentioned as well, I'm working on staffing too. I have some good response back from some of the returns that are coming back from last year. So we hope to get, hopefully maybe a few in next week, but obviously any of the schools or college kids aren't at that point yet. So we'll be scrapping a little bit for the next couple of weeks till we can be fully staffed. And at this point, that's all I have. But if there's any other questions or concerns about the golf course, I'd be happy to answer.
What's going on the back tee on number 1? To the tee on the back tee on number 1, there was some minor excavation. Didn't know, just curious.
Correct. Last fall, right before we winterized the irrigation system, there's a 6-inch water main line that goes under the tunnel right through to the number 1 tee area. That broke prior to us blowing out the system. Good news is we did get in and we made that repair on that 6-inch line. But as we did that, we also cut some wires as well as a 2-inch line that runs through there. Since that time, that has all been repaired, the 2-inch and the 6-inch. The wires have been spliced. We left it exposed a little bit because what we want to do when we turn the water on in the spring, and I know it's a little unsightly, we just want to make sure that there's no leaks, because we don't want to put all the material back on because of the timing of when that leak occurred. We were winterizing right before we winterized. So we're going to, once we turn the system on, probably April, or depending when the weather dictates us to turn it on, probably late April. We'll see if there's any drips or any leaks. If not, we'll buckle that area up, grade it, and seed it.
Sorry I asked. I didn't realize all that went on.
Yeah, it was bad timing, and it's just kind of weird the time frame of the year it happened, because we had no way to test it, because we actually bled everything out like the day of it happened. So once we get it tested, we'll get it all buckled up, hopefully in April.
Great. Thanks, Jim.
You're welcome.
I'm kind of new to this. I had a question just in general, like how does Glen Eagles compare to other like golf courses in the area? Did you guys look at like performance to other golf courses? Like, is that something that you guys have done in the past?
Now, are you talking in regards to like Brian, like rounds of golf, or like what Jim does maintenance wise on the course?
I guess more probably for Brian, like just
Okay.
like volume, dollars. Like
Yeah, we compared years ago. I didn't do anything last couple of years. This is Northeast Ohio, so it's pretty much everyone's very similar in rounds and revenue and stuff. We've been a little bit higher in some courses. We've been a little lower in some courses. It kind of depends on what kind of course they are. Like if you're talking about Metro Park golf courses, we're familiar, very close to them, but we're not a Sleepy Hollow or Manakiki type of golf course. Most of the city-run golf courses are very similar in rounds and revenue. Last year, I spoke with several golf pros. It's a little bit different because some people opened, some people didn't right away with COVID. I know we were shut down until May and then had a lot of strict guidelines in May. Other courses were open in March all through April. So it's tough to compare last year because everyone, ran a little bit differently with all the COVID and stuff that was out there. So This year, hopefully things will be a little more comparable on the, with everything going on, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens.
right.
Brian, I think
Thank you.
noting you shared with me in passing your number of rounds last year. I think that's worth sharing with the group, that you were up, 35,000, whatever, which was as high as I thought I heard you say you had seen since the 1990s.
Yeah, that's a large number. We haven't been up there in quite some time. So we'll see what we can do this year. Like I said, that was rounds with no March, no April, and limited May. So we can definitely improve if these COVID numbers keep getting better and we can fully open without any restrictions.
The price the same for a round of golf?
Prices went up a little bit, anywhere from 50 cents to $1 across the board.
And then do you guys do the snack bar, or is that part of the restaurant?
All the restaurant. They have everything from the pro shop wall over, and that includes the pavilion as well.
So people come in afterwards, they're like, if they want to have they stop at they sit on the pavilion, all of that goes to Burntwood then?
Correct.
So have your numbers changed for what you're looking for? Like your goals? Because you would have had to, because in the past, the numbers you showed like food.
Yeah, right. So last year we had 3 months of the food. So obviously the numbers we're looking at, we just, pick out the golf side of everything and compare those numbers and set those as our goals. So, that really, I don't want to say hurts us. It really changes the way we do business now as far as outings and everything else, because, if a group was coming in with a large outing and they were writing a check for, 2019 and before, that was all going to us. And if you large outings, if you divide up the check, it was more for food and beverage than it is golf. So we're going to be very limited, if at all, to any events, because that's a bad move for us now, because we get zero revenue from there. So it's worthwhile for us to stay open, pay as you play, use all the tee times possible at this point.
But the only thing I can add, and that's a true business statement, Brian, as I see it. However, working in parallel with them, with the restaurant, A&M, I'll call them A&M, and having them support, you guys support each other, that can leverage and benefit from a cost standpoint. Because I know I've talked real time with people that said, well, are we going to go to Grantwood or do we want to come to Glen Eagle? Let's assume golf courses are the same, which they aren't. But because of the food and that benefit, people are going to come. I think there's a tendency to come and sponsor you folks and A&M as a package. So I think that's a key relationship still that will differentiate you from Sleepy Hollow and all your competitors personally.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that relationship, but that as far as regular play, as far as big, large groups and stuff, for us to close the golf course down now, Tom, we need like $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 just for the golf side to make it even worth for us closing. And that's not going to happen around here.
Got it.
So is it appropriate to talk about like those bonds or whatever, like the finances, the golf course to the clubhouse? I mean, do you guys have an obligation to that, or do they piece them both sides together and it's a bigger picture beyond? I guess, is that a Shannon question?
That's a above anyone's pay grade here question.
Okay.
Lisa, I think that any questions you have like that, if you want to go ahead and shoot me an email with those,
Okay.
I'm happy to research and get you answers to questions.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have the answers here to be able to provide that to you, but if you want to shoot an email, I'm happy to find out some answers for you and get that to you.
That's fine. The conversation just has me thinking about all these questions. So
Oh
I
yeah,
don't mean to take us off topic.
Good
But
questions.
Lisa, I think it's a fair question because it's something I look at as a member of this board. I feel like I need to be as informed as I can be to help support those negative issues that are out there about
yes.
the relationship of the golf course and the deficit, et cetera, et cetera. So I think Brian's right. I wouldn't expect him or Jim to answer that question, but us being informed of that answer, I'll use it every day as best I can. Trust me.
Sure, absolutely. I can also ask if you guys, we can do it via email back and forth with some questions, or I can possibly invite Sarah Bucci-Gross, our finance director, to a golf advisory board meeting, and you guys can kind of shoot some questions at her, whichever you guys prefer. Or both. We can start with emails and see where we go from there.
That's fine.
Okay.
I'd welcome live engagement.
Yeah.
I mean, and not,
Yeah.
I mean, purely from transparency and informational, not to be, debatable or throw somebody under the bus. That's not my intention.
Right. Yeah. Transparency is key. So yeah, if you guys have specific questions, shoot me an email. I'll compile those all into one, get some answers, and then reply to all. So, okay. Does anybody have any other questions for Brian or Jim?
Jim, my dog did a good job this winter chasing those geese.
Thank you. Any bit helps. We appreciate it.
Yes.
I'm just going to kind of do what we do at council. I'm just going to kind of go around my screen here and just follow up if anybody has any questions or anything they want to add. So Tom, I'm going to start with you.
I have nothing other than I can share from being on living where I live, that the pond is going to move up to 4 shots from, I think it's called Aqueduct. Yeah, right. So that hopefully will help. I know the pond is part of the golf course. There's no question, but I just share that. Nothing else. Looking forward
Thanks,
to
Tom.
2021 season with Brian and Jim.
John, do you have anything, questions or anything you want to add?
No, just to thank Brian and Jim for all their hard work. And I didn't realize the course was open. I'll be there soon with the boots. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John. Lisa, do you have anything?
No, except what is the aqueduct? Wait, what are you saying, Tom? What does that mean?
I live on the fairway across from the 18th hole, the pond that's there.
Yeah.
As ponds go, it develops foliage within the pond. Some people says it creates an odor. Obviously, the ducks love it, the fish love it. But Aqueduct, I think it's Aqueduct, comes in and they literally rowboat and spray chemicals that are assumed, obviously approved, and it deteriorates or retards the foliage in the pond, so you can see all the way to the bottom, if you will. If they don't do it, the pond, how do I want to say this? It's unfishable, but it improves it. There's no question. And it's an expense that we pick up from an association in kind of the relationship that we have with the golf course.
Oh.
Thank you. And thanks, Brian and Jim, from walking it through the winter. I mean, it's looked like it was still in pretty good shape. So I'm excited to play on it this year.
Sunita, anything from you?
No, thanks, Brian and Jim. And yeah, I need to take some golf lessons. So recommendations, because I do want to learn how to play golf. So
Brian's your guy.
Yeah, we've got 3 teachers here, so whenever you're ready.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna sign up.
Okay.
Thanks, Anita.
Hey, Shannon?
Yes,
I
Jim.
do have something to say. Tom, regarding that, you brought up that Aqueduct contract. I just want to make sure we're on the same page. We have a contract with them, with the city, that we pick up that does do the lake on hole 18 as well as hole 3, and then back on 7, 3 ponds. And so we do pick up that invoice. So I just want to make sure that you get your association, unless you signed up for an additional application, that aren't paying a fee that you shouldn't be. Because for the last several years, we've been under contract with them, just as you explained, and that bill has been coming to us. And actually, I just signed the 2021 contract for this season for those applications, which is a full season program on the 3 lakes on the golf course. And I believe the association does not pay anything towards that.
Maybe I misstated, Jim, and I will validate that, what you said. I would bet you're more right than I am. Thank you very much. But I know, because I sit on the board here with the association, that I saw an invoice or a quote for 4 applications that for this pond, just this pond. And maybe it was just on this side that I thought we approved. Let me validate that, Jim, and I'll come back to you, or I'll come back to this board. Clearly, I don't want to have them double dipping by any stretch of the imagination. And we clearly need to work in coordination, no question. I will take that as an action item, and I'll come back to Jim, at least you, or however appropriately, to this board to make sure that item's cleared up.
Yeah. Tom, if you want to follow up with Jim, that would be good. And then we can report any findings back to the board at the next meeting. But if you and Jim want to work together, that'd be great.
I'll be glad to.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Jim, do you have anything else since you kind of have the floor?
I do not. Thank you, everyone, for the compliments. I appreciate it, and looking forward to seeing everybody on the golf course this season.
Great. Thanks, Jim. Brian, what about you? Anything?
No, I'm good, Shannon. Thank you, everybody.
Okay. And I
I
hope
do.
everybody saw Greg got on too. So
Sure.
he missed I don't know if he got the actual invite, so we got him in the back way, I think. So Greg, do you have anything to add from the meeting?
Well, first of all, I'm sorry for being late and missed the entire meeting. I did have trouble getting on. The link ended up in my junk folder, which I swear I thought I checked there, but it wasn't. And I did find it eventually. But you guys are doing a great job, Jim and Brian. I've always been proud to live in the city and be on this board. And all my friends and clients that use the course always say great things. I'm looking forward to the Chamber Golf outing in August and to continue the praises. So I look forward to this season. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Quick question for Brian and Jim. Brian first, are you still hiring for any positions in your department, your area?
No.
You're full? Okay. And Jim, did you say earlier you are still looking for a couple?
Yes, we are.
Okay. All right, perfect. So if anybody on the board has anybody who's interested in working at our wonderful course, they can apply online, and Jim's got some openings that he can take a look at them for.
Shannon?
So, yep. And Joanne, you're the last one on my screen. When do you have, Dad?
Okay, well, thank you for being our host for the meeting, and Jim and Ryan, for all your hard work. So I had a question on you said something about standing tea times, and I didn't realize that we did that, or did I misunderstand?
No, on the weekends, we do just standing tea times early morning.
Okay,
So there's a contract and a fee they pay, and then I take care of their whole schedule for the whole season, so they never have to worry about any tea times or anything. It's been
So
on the site for 10, 15 years. We have probably 30 or 40 groups that take advantage of that at this point.
oh, okay. No wonder I can't get a tea time in the morning. Now I know. No. Otherwise, and then what about, I know there's some walkers that still walk early in the morning. At what point do we kind of shut that down, or do we, or?
As soon as the golf course opens, we try to shut it down. I will tell you the last 10 days, it's been really bad. Like today, went out and talked to a couple a couple that was walking, a couple single ladies. They basically look at us like I'm crazy.
Right.
Some other words are used as well. It's, you know, not that I want to bring Jim in the conversation. It's quite amazing what people think they can do when they live on the golf course.
Mhm.
Taxpayers, they basically own it and tell us what to do. It's quite frustrating. I won't speak for Jim again, but year round, every year. Like the run-ins we had today, they're just uncalled for. But
So
they
what do you,
keep coming out of their house and keep doing it. Last year it got bad, so bad in the evening time. We have a lot of people who sneak on late and actually play golf and ruin the greens or ruin the turf. I had the police come over and start doing rounds around the golf course. So it's just going to continue to get worse and worse, in my opinion, based upon, don't take this the wrong way, the society we live in nowadays.
right.
Entitled. So we'll just, you know, we'll do resources again with police if we have to, but yeah, it gets pretty bad.
Okay, well, I'll chat with you before the next council meeting, so maybe we can have a statement that we should present right to the public, but anything you need from council too, and I appreciate, I know it's not easy, but anything we can help with that, I'm happy to help.
Okay, thanks, Joanne.
Thanks.
Brian didn't say it, but it's a two-way street, meaning obviously it's an inconvenience to the golf course, but they're asking folks not to be out there when it's in full playing season for their own protection. Because they
Correct.
catch a golf ball or something, obviously they're going to come back to me that hit a bad shot again, and they shouldn't be there. And if they weren't there, they wouldn't have been a recipient of my ball.
What's shocking is some people that are regular golfers that are doing it is shocking to me. So, and I do tend to go, so they're like writing my aim. But yeah, I don't know if maybe we need another sign that says it's going to be strictly enforced or something. I know that's not really friendly, but as a
There's
warning.
ways of wording it firmly and without.
Signs don't work unless whatever on the sign works for other people. Signs don't work. Tom will verify there's signs on every major street, so to speak, where people come on. The problem is people just come right out of their houses. So you can't put signs anywhere because people just come out of their houses. They come down Glenwood Drive, they come off of Glenwood Drive and start walking. So it's a good thought, but you know,
Maybe we create a pass that they can sign up for and pay for to help the golf course revenue. And when they sign that and add revenue, they can also sign a waiver that says, in the deed, if they do get hit and damaged, they won't hold themselves liable.
that's the thing that you said, you know, it's for their safety. We have to explain to them most of the time that kind of sounds mean, but if someone gets hit walking on the golf course when they're not supposed to be here, I don't want anyone to get hurt, but I really don't feel bad for them. I feel bad, for example, if you hit the ball, Tom. How would you feel if you hit someone on the golf course?
They're terrible.
It's just, there's no thought process behind it for them, unfortunately. So we'll keep dealing with it. We deal with it every year, all year long. It never stops.
Right.
All right. Last call for anything from anybody.
So my son or daughter can't ride their bike on the cart path. I'm kidding. That'll be the next question.
Jeez.
All right. Thank you.
All
Laura.
right. Well, thank you, everyone. I'm going to adjourn the meeting at 7:04. Have a good night, guys.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye.
you.
All right, thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye.
Right.
See you in
Bye.